Claude Code's 90-line wall of text turned into a 30-line step list.
The first line jumps straight into a command, so you can act the moment you read it. Renka, Claude Code's answers are so long I lose the will to read them. You know, the kind that starts with great question and ends with hope this helps. And then Sharina's just sitting here like, what am I actually supposed to do?
Oh, that's a classic pattern. There's a preamble, then it goes off on a tangent, and it wraps up with this overly polite closing. The one thing that actually matters, what to do next, gets buried somewhere in there.
Right, and even after I finish reading it, I still can't get moving.
There's actually a skill called i-have-adhd that fixes that.
So what changes once you add the skill?
The first line of the answer starts with a verb, a command, or a file path. Things like npm install this or open line 42 of src/auth.ts.
So the next action comes right at the start?
Exactly. You can start acting the moment you begin reading.
Sharina wishes you'd told her that sooner.
Let's look at an actual example the author put in the README to see how it changes. It's a before/after for a question about fixing authentication code. Here's the before. It opens with great question, and then goes into an explanation of the auth flow. Partway through, it goes off on a, by the way, tangent about dependency packages. Then it wraps up with hope, this helps.
The tangent in the middle is so on brand.
Now here's the after. The first line is npm install JSON token at latest. After that, it's 3 numbered steps. 1. Open src/auth.ts. 2. Rewrite verified token on lines 42 through 58. 3. Run auth spec.ts with npm test. It ends with next. If it fails, paste the first error line.
All the prose is gone. It's just commands and steps.
And the amount of information hasn't actually gone down. If anything, it's gone up, since the file location is now spelled out as lines 42 through 58.
In the before, it was just vague, like around lines 42 to 58.
Right, and once the line numbers are pinned down, you can jump straight to them in your editor.
Sharina finds it quietly helpful that next already tells you what to do after.
Since it says paste it if it fails, you also know you're done if it succeeds. It's not just for step-by-step stuff like fixing auth code. It works for judgment calls too.
Judgment calls, like when you ask whether to do something or not.
Right? Let me show you an example from asking, should we migrate to pnpm? The before is 26 lines. It covers the conditions for it to get faster, how to isolate the cause, migration cost, and how to proceed. All the points are just laid out side by side, and you're still left not knowing what to actually do.
The kind that's so exhaustive it doesn't actually sink in.
The after is 11 lines. The first line is there are 3 decision points. 1. Identify why CI is slow. 2. The size of the monorepo and the number of workspaces. 3. Migration cost. And at the end it says next. Measure how long npm SCI takes.
By shortening it, doesn't it also cut out the reasoning you need to actually decide?
Each point still has a reason attached, so you can read it if you want to. Being long doesn't actually mean it's being thorough. Even short, if it's structured well, it gets across everything you need.
It's nice that there's less to read, but it's actually easier to act on.
It's not just judgment calls. It works the same way when you're asking for an implementation too. There's an example where someone asked to implement rate limiting in Express. The before is 90 lines. It covers the implementation steps and proxy configuration. It even goes all the way to supporting multiple instances. It explains everything thoroughly, but you don't know where to actually start.
90 lines is basically the same as reading documentation at that point.
The after is 30 lines, down to a third of the length. And the first line is, install Express rate limit and it'll work. Takes 5 to 10 minutes.
It even gives you a time estimate.
Yeah, the skills rules say to give a concrete time estimate. Vague phrases like a bit or a moment are banned.
Knowing it's 5 to 10 minutes lets you decide whether to do it now or later.
Exactly. It makes it a lot easier to schedule your work.
So how do you actually install that skill?
With Claude Code, it's just 2 commands. Claude plugin marketplace add i-have-adhd. Next, run Claude plugin install i-have-adhd at i-have-adhd. And that's it. Install done.
Does it kick in right away once it's installed?
Type /i-have-adhd in a session, and it turns on from there. If you want to turn it off, just say stop ADHD mode or normal mode.
Oh, so you can toggle it per session. Typing /i-have-adhd every single time sounds kind of annoying, honestly.
If you want it always on, there's a way to do that. Touch / Claude / i-have-adhd always. Just drop this file in, and it turns on automatically for every session.
Oh, so it just checks whether the file exists.
Right? And if you want to stop, just delete it with rm and it's off.
That's easier than messing with a config file. Just touch and rm.
This skill is really just one file, called skill.md. It's 143 lines long, and it lays out 10 rules. The key thing is every rule comes with a bad example and a good example, paired together.
So it's not some vague instruction like write concisely.
Right? It shows patterns instead. LLM follow concrete examples a lot more reliably. Let me walk you through 3 rules that really stand out. First one, lead with the next action. The first line has to start with a verb. The bad example opens with, let's think about this. The good example is, run npm install, straight into the command.
Yeah, the moment I see let's think about this, I just want to skip ahead.
Second, cap lists at 5 items. Once you hit 6 or more, it splits them into do now and do later.
Oh, so it stops you from freezing up with too many options.
Third one, no preamble, no closing pleasantries. Things like great question or hope this helps are explicitly called out as banned.
Naming the banned words specifically is probably why they actually disappear. Everything getting shorter is nice, but sometimes you actually want the details, like the design intent or why it's written a certain way.
For that, just say explain, and it switches into detailed mode. Walk me through works the same way. Then it gives you the full explanation with headings, still structured so you can skip around easily.
So brevity isn't forced on you, you can just switch it off.
Also, it always confirms before any destructive operation. Things like git reset hard or rmref.
That would be scary if it skipped the confirmation just to stay short.
Skill.md explicitly states that safety takes priority over brevity. It's designed so it never sacrifices safety, just to keep things short.
Knowing the exceptions are actually thought through, that's reassuring. If it's just rules written down, isn't that the same as writing them myself in Claude.md?
Same question came up on Reddit, actually. If you only ever run it always on, Claude.md gets you the same effect. But the skill has 3 advantages Claude.md doesn't. First one is the per session on/off toggle I showed earlier. You can switch it on just for review work, and off otherwise, per task.
With Claude.md, you'd have to edit the file every time you want to remove it.
Second, the author's improvements come down automatically. You just run Claude plugin marketplace update to get the latest version.
If you wrote it yourself, you'd have to make every improvement yourself too.
Third, the same rules work across multiple agents. The same skill.md runs on 9 different agents: Codex, Cursor, Copilot, Gemini CLI, and more.
Rewriting the rules for every environment really is a pain.
There was also a shortened version people put into Claude.md, mentioned on Reddit. The full version is 143 lines, but some people trim it down 80% for always on use.
Try it as a skill first, and if you like it, keep a shortened version always on.
I've been saying nothing but good things so far, but let's talk about the limits too. This skill has a pretty clear split between where it works and where it doesn't. Take debugging diagnostics, for example. When I asked about the cause of a hydration error, there was barely any difference.
Why doesn't it help with debugging?
Because the original answer is already concise. The structure, here's the cause, here's the fix, is already simple. The skill helps most where preambles and tangents tend to pile up.
So people who mostly ask short questions get less benefit out of it.
Right. There are also reports that it forgets the rules after a few turns.
So even after you turn it on, it can drift back partway through.
It can't be prevented completely. But the always-on setup I mentioned earlier helps. The rules get injected at the start of every session, so even if it forgets, it comes back on the next turn, and it's not for people who like detailed explanations. That one's just a matter of preference.
If you want all the background context, this might feel a bit thin.
There's also a small but important catch. You need to restart Claude Code after installing it. Without a restart, the plugin won't load. So don't panic if it seems like nothing happened after you installed it.
It's not perfect, but it clearly beats not having it at all.
Let me also show you how to remove it if it doesn't work out. If you want to delete it completely, run Claude plugin uninstall i-have-adhd. That removes the whole plugin.
If there's a chance I'd use it again, I'd probably want to keep it around.
In that case, run Claude plugin disable i-have-adhd. That disables it temporarily while keeping the plugin installed.
And if I want it back, enable brings it right back?
Yep. Enable switches it back on immediately.
So just having the next action right there on the first line changes that much.
It does, because it kills that moment of rereading and thinking, wait, what am I supposed to do? Longer doesn't mean more thorough. Structure is what determines how easy it is to just start.
30 lines where the next step is obvious gets you moving faster than 90 lines of explanation.
It won't fit everyone, so just install it and try it for a few days first. If it's not for you, disable or uninstall takes it right off.
It's nice that the barrier to trying it is so low.
If you've ever gotten annoyed at how long an answer was, give it a try.